The full moon once a month is the time when we can see everything around us clearly. In culture and history, the full moon also has another extremely important meaning, which is the change of months of the year. Each full moon day in each month has a different name and nature. Many names for the full moon date back to the time when ancient tribes relied on the full moon to track crops and harvest. Each name of the full moon was created by many different cultures around the world. Most full moons have more than one name, some are more widely used than others. In fact, one side of the moon must face the planet, the other side is always in darkness. And in fact, most of the time the full moon won't be completely full. Only when the moon, earth and sun are in a straight line will the moon really be 100% round, and that alignment will produce a lunar eclipse. Sometimes, very rarely, there are 2 full moons in a month, or 4 in a season, depending on your observations. Each country has a different culture, so the naming of each full moon is also different. European settlers kept their own customs, while creating a number of new names. Full moon in 2016, according to NASA, January 23, the wolf moon. The wolf moon occurs at a time when the howls of hungry wolves can be heard in the middle of winter. February 22, snow moon. The snow moon occurs in the winter of February, when it snows the most. This is also the time when hunting becomes difficult, so it is also known as the hunger moon. March 23, the worm moon. A deep moon occurs at a time when temperatures begin to rise and warm, the ground becomes lush and earthworms begin to reappear. It also has other names such as, living plastic moon or crow moon. April 22, the pink moon. The pink moon is when wildflowers begin to bloom. It is also known by other names such as, grass moon, egg moon, or fish moon. May 21, the flower moon. The flower moon is when a multitude of flowers begin to bloom this month. Alternative names, the corn planting moon or milk moon. June 20, the strawberry moon. Strawberry moon is the time when the Native American tribes of the Algonquin flock to pick ripe berries. Other names, the honey moon, rose moon, or hot moon. July 20, buck moon or thunder moon. Deer moon is when deer begin to grow new horns. Other names, thunder moon, because thunder storms often appear, or hay moon. August 21, the sturgeon moon. Sturgeon moon is named after the time when native tribes in the Americas could catch fish easily. It also has alternate names such as, green corn moon, red moon, grain moon. September 16, harvest moon. The time of the full moon is closest to the autumn equinox and can occur in September or October, or the barley moon. October 16, the hunter's moon. The hunter's moon was when Native American tribes began to hunt and store food for the winter. November 14, the beaver moon. Named for the time when the Native Americans set traps for beavers before the water began to freeze completely, it was also the time beavers began to prepare for winter. December 13, the cold moon. The moon of December is named after the middle month of winter, when the real cold is felt and the night time becomes longer and darker. Names of Chinese moons, January, holiday moon, February, budding moon, March, sleepy moon, April, peony moon, May, dragon moon, June, lotus moon, July, hungry ghost moon, August, harvest moon, September, chrysanthemum moon, October, kindly moon, November, white moon, December, bitter moon. They usually named the moon after the signs of the seasons of the month, so the harvest moon would occur at the end of the crop, September, and the cold moon to describe the cold in November. That's how the moon works in the northern hemisphere. In the southern hemisphere, where the timing of the seasons is variable, the harvest moon usually occurs in March and the cold moon in June. South of the equator, the full moon is often referred to as January, hay moon, buck moon, thunder moon, mead moon. February, midsummer grain moon, sturgeon moon, red moon, corn moon. March, harvest moon, corn moon. April, harvest moon, hunter's moon, blood moon. May, hunter's moon, beaver moon, frost moon. June, oak moon, cold moon, night's moon. July, wolf moon, old moon, ice moon. August, snow moon, storm moon, hunger moon, wolf moon. September, worm moon, lenten moon, crow moon, sugar moon, sap moon. October, egg moon, fish moon, pink moon, waking moon. November, corn moon, milk moon, flower moon. December, strawberry moon, honey moon, rose moon. This is when full moons will occur in 2023, according to NASA. The next full moon will be on Monday, February 6th, at 1:29 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 17:29 GMT, but the moon will still appears full the night before and after its peak to the casual stargazer. The February full moon follows the January full moon, which occurred on Friday, January 6th at 6:08 p.m. Eastern Time, 23:08 GMT. The January full moon is known as the full wolf moon. The first full moon of 2023 wowed stargazers around the world. Most of the time, the full moon isn't perfectly full. We always see the same side of the moon, but part of it is in shadow, due to the moon's rotation. Only when the moon, earth and the sun are perfectly aligned is the moon 100% full, and that alignment produces a lunar eclipse. The moon is spherical in shape and takes 27.3 days to go around the earth. The moon also takes 27 days to rotate on its axis. Therefore, the moon usually has the same sides, there is no dark side of the moon. As the moon orbits the earth, it is illuminated from different angles of light from the sun. On average, the moon only appears for about 50 minutes a day, meaning it can appear during the day and at other times at night. There are 4 phases of the moon: new moon, first quarter moon, full moon and third quarter moon. At new moon, the moon is between Earth and the sun, so that the side of the moon facing toward us receives no direct sunlight and is lit only by dim sunlight reflected from Earth. A few days later, as the moon moves around Earth, the side we can see gradually becomes more illuminated by direct sunlight. This thin sliver is called the waxing crescent. A week after the new moon, the moon is 90 degrees away from the sun in the sky and is half illuminated from our point of view, what we call first quarter because it is about a quarter of the way around Earth. A few days later, the area of illumination continues to increase. More than half of the moon's face appears to be getting sunlight. This phase is called a waxing gibbous moon. When the moon has moved 180 degrees from its new moon position, the sun, Earth and the moon form a line. The moon's disk is as close as it can be to being fully illuminated by the sun, so this is called full moon. Next, the moon moves until more than half of its face appears to be getting sunlight, but the amount is decreasing. This is the waning gibbous phase. Days later, the moon has moved another quarter of the way around Earth, to the third quarter position. The sun's light is now shining on the other half of the visible face of the moon. Next, the moon moves into the waning crescent phase as less than half of its face appears to be getting sunlight, and the amount is decreasing. Finally, the moon moves back to its new moon starting position. Because the moon's orbit is not exactly in the same plane as Earth's orbit around the sun, they rarely are perfectly aligned. Usually the moon passes above or below the sun from our vantage point, but occasionally it passes right in front of the sun, and we get an eclipse of the moon. Every full moon has an exact time of occurrence. This may or may not be true for the time the moon appears in your area. So the full moon may be several hours earlier or later than the actual time. Despite the full range of technical equipment, an ordinary telescope would not be able to observe this special phenomenon. In fact, the moon often looks roughly the same 2 nights in a row after a full moon. If you find this video interesting and useful, please share it and give it a like. Please subscribe to the channel and the bell button to not miss any latest videos.